I've had enough. I'm going back to my parents' house. Oh, go ahead. Just don't ever come back. What? What do you mean by don't come back? Are you suggesting divorce? You understand perfectly. I've somehow endured until now, but I've reached my limit. It's fine if you want to leave, but if you do, sign the divorce papers before you go. Are you serious about this? Of course I am. What's the matter? Scared all of a sudden? I suppose it's to be expected. It's okay to take the kids and leave, but you're heading to your parents' house, aren't you? I wonder what my mother-in-law will have to say about you. If we get to the root of the problem, it's your fault for having an affair, right? If not for that, I wouldn't be saying any of this. But rather than showing remorse, you're flaunting your arrogance. Affair? What on earth are you talking about? I hate to break it to you when you're worked up, but do you have any proof that I've cheated? I know you're having an affair with a woman at the office. Having a children and a wife. How could you betray us? As if cutting off my words, my husband retorted. Stop making me repeat myself. When did I ever have an affair? If you have any evidence, show me. But I saw your phone. My smartphone? That's odd. I don't have any communication with any women on my smartphone, you know. With that, my husband showed me his list of message exchanges. It seems he deleted them thinking I might get suspicious. They were definitely there when I looked, but my observations can't be considered as evidence. He must have known that I didn't have any concrete evidence. That's why he's so brazen. Hey, what's wrong? If you're going to say that I'm cheating, show me some solid evidence. I'll listen properly. I don't have any evidence, but I saw it. I saw you communicating with a woman over your smartphone. But there's nothing there, right? Could it be, Lisa, that you just dreamed all this up? Maybe in your dream you couldn't forgive me for cheating, and you've convinced yourself that it's happening in reality too? There's no way that's possible. Lisa, just leave. When the conversation has come this far, there's no other option but to split, so write this and go. With that, my husband pulled out the divorce papers from his office bag. His section was already filled out. He probably had it written out, ready to be used at any time. Don't worry, I'll give you custody of the kids. I'm kind to the very end, aren't I? It was humiliating. This man was having an affair. Why should I have to go through something like this because of it? However, it's not good for me or the children to remain attached to such a worthless man forever. In any case, it seems like divorce is unavoidable. Fine, I'll write it now. Are you happy? Okay. He had a broad grin on his face, obviously pleased. And so our 10 years of marriage abruptly came to an end. He must be thinking he's now free to live with his mistress. For now, let him think that way. While I didn't have a plan, I left with the firm intention to make him regret this one day. On that day, on the way to my parents' house with the kids, I called my mother. My mother, usually busy with work and rarely at home, happened to be in. I'll explain in detail when I see you, but can I come over now? That's fine, but it's very sudden. Could you prepare a place to stay? You mean a bed to sleep? But why? I'm going to stay with you for a while. I've divorced with my husband. What? So, skipping over the details, I headed to my parents' house. It was about an hour's drive. When we arrived, my son ran into their grandparents' house joyfully, but actually being there made me feel the weight of my mother's responsibility. What's going to happen now? He said he would give me custody of our son, but is this really the right thing to do? Actually, there is some conflict. For now, I decided to talk to my mother and then think it through. While my son was playing alone, I told my mother what had happened. I had never told her about his infidelity, so I explained everything. But as I spoke, my emotions became jumbled and tears started to fall. My mother didn't say anything, she just silently watched over me. Once I had finished talking, she hugged me and said, "You've been tolerating the trouble all by yourself. I knew you were patient, but I didn't know you had been enduring so much. You've really grown from a daughter to a mother. You've really done well." Mom. Perhaps it was the security of being home that finally let me let go of the tension that I had been holding in. I hadn't realized my mom mentioned it, but I had lost a lot of weight. Recently, my mom had been preoccupied with his cheating, and I couldn't get food down my throat. I hadn't noticed, but it seems that my appetite had decreased. When I ate the dinner she made for me for the first time in a while, I realized the taste of food for the first time. I hadn't found anything delicious lately, but everything I ate that day tasted good. It seems like it was the right decision to come here. After dinner, when we were relaxing in the evening, I discussed the future with her. He seemed in a hurry to get a divorce, so I agreed right away. Above all, I felt that it might be impossible for me to start over. I see, so do you know anything more about his affair? I've only seen their text exchanges, so I don't really have any solid evidence yet. I see. If you're trying to get evidence, it would only be about the affair during the marriage. Are you not going back to the house again? What? Because in the end, it's about him proposing divorce, right? That means there will be various arrangements and things to discuss, like what to do with the house, how much child support there will be, and so on. Right, I hadn't thought about that. With all the commotion, I had completely forgotten about the finer details. Then my mom said something as if she had a great idea. Wait a minute, if you're going back to the house, can you contact him right now? Right now? I don't really want to. Just give it a try. Just send a message saying, I have things and arrangements to pick up, so please make time. Maybe in about a week? Alright. If it's hard for you to send the message, shall I do it? No, I'll try to do it. Following my mother's instructions, I sent a message to my husband. Surprisingly, he responded promptly. Apparently, he hadn't filed for divorce yet, so we agreed to talk within a week. But I didn't really understand why she had suggested this. I know I impulsively agreed to a divorce, but it's better to have a proper arrangement, right? That's part of it, of course, but don't you want to get to the bottom of his affair? If there's no evidence right now, I think it would be good to have about a week to gather some. Ah, I see. You might want to break off the relationship quickly, but isn't it a horrible idea to let a man who cheated get away with it? Yes, I feel the same way, but I don't know how to investigate it, and I think it would be hard to investigate past affairs. Lisa, did you forget something? What is it? Where your husband works. Ah, I had completely forgotten about it. My husband's company and my mother's company were part of the same group, and my mother was an executive in the parent company, so she was always privy to information about the employees. It seems that coming to her in my haste was the right decision in a way. For now, I'll look into this matter for you. I think it should be easy to find out just by asking the employees. 2 days after saying that, my mother contacted me to say that she had obtained evidence of the affair. Apparently, many of the employees were aware of the affair between the two of them. It seems that the other woman had been spreading around the fact that she was dating my husband. It seems the other woman is competent at her job, but she seems to be reckless when it comes to men. Apparently, she had made advances on another male employee before, and that man was also married. Maybe she prefers men who seem to have a certain ease about them because they're married. In any case, the one who falls for such a woman is their fault. Thank you, Mom, but you said you were investigating. Won't my husband or the other woman find out? I've told the director and one of the employees who I spoke to keep it to themselves, but the rumor might spread soon. What should I do? Why are you panicking? Even if it's revealed, there's no point in hiding it now. I understand that you're upset and frustrated about being cheated on, but it's a waste of time to be swayed by those emotions. No matter what, the best attitude is to be confident and assertive if you've done nothing wrong. Do you understand? I understand. What she said was right. The one who is doing something wrong is him. So it's not the time for me to be flustered. After her words, I made up my mind and steeled myself. But then I received a message from my husband. There's still some time before the agreed upon 1 week. I wonder what he wants. What does he want? Lisa, I'm sorry, but I'll be there soon. Let me in when I get there. My husband seemed quite flustered when he said this to me. He probably heard about it from the employees and hurriedly came to explain himself to my mother. Do you need to see my mother? Yes, it was you, wasn't it? You're the one who told mother-in-law. Why would you do such a thing? I'm in a tight spot if you told her. What are you talking about? Who's the one who had an affair? And you asked me if I had any evidence, didn't you? That's why I brought it. That's all. You have something to say, right? I'll be waiting at my parents' house. See you. And so I decided to wait for my husband. He arrived shortly. The look on his face when he entered the house was exactly what I expected, an expression of desperation. I could tell just how flustered he was by the look on his face, but he seemed to be at a loss for words and looked flustered. Mother-in-law, I'm very sorry for hurting your daughter with my actions. If it's alright. With that, my husband handed a gift of sweets to her. Oh, thank you. So, why did you come today? Huh? If you go out of your way to bring an apology and a gift, you would come on the day when she left, right? You came all this way because something happened, right? Each of her words weighed heavily on my husband. When I thought about it, I remembered that I used to get scolded in the same way when I used to hide things or do something naughty. In response to her question, my husband seemed to be breaking out in a cold sweat. I don't know what she did to my husband, but he came all the way to my parents' house. He must have done something quite inconvenient. After a few seconds of silence, my husband opened his mouth. About that disciplinary action. Could you reconsider it? Huh? Indeed, I am entirely at fault for the affair, but to treat it as a disciplinary action... Disciplinary action? Mom, what's going on? There's no what's going on. I judged that it was appropriate to take disciplinary action against him and the woman he was involved with. I see. What, do you have a problem with that? No, I've heard of people getting transferred for things like this, but I didn't expect such severe punishment. Transfer, huh? Lisa, the stories you've heard, are they about employees having affairs with each other within the company? Indeed, it's difficult for a company to fire someone just because they had an affair, but the decision to punish was made because there was a problem with the degree of the affair. What do you mean? It would be best if you heard it from the person in question rather than from me. Can you explain? No. Well, there's nothing more embarrassing than explaining something like that. Can't be helped. I'll explain for you. This man and his partner were having a good time elsewhere, but they were behaving the same way within the company. What? But other people would see, right? They were doing such things even while evading others' eyes. How did she get a hold of such information? Apparently, from the surveillance camera footage, my husband and his mistress were found acting suspiciously while avoiding the gaze of employees even within the company. This happened almost every day. While they were cleaning up as the employees were leaving, they were clearly seen having fun together. Knowing that the boss usually doesn't check their surveillance cameras, my husband seemed to have been enjoying himself taking advantage of this. Is that so? Hearing this, I was taken aback by his words and actions. Was I really with such a man until now? Well, there are other things too, but I don't even want to mention them. He should know them best. Anyway, that's why I decided to discipline both you and the secretary you were involved with. There's absolutely no way to overturn this. Whether he was cornered by me or not, my husband broke his formal seating posture and sat cross-legged. He also loosened his tie, unbuttoned his shirt up to the second button. Frankly, it was not an attitude to take towards his mother-in-law. Oh, I see. Well, that's fine. So I'm fired, right? In exchange, I can't pay child support. Is that okay? What? What are you talking about? Don't you care about our children? I love my son, but I don't have a job. I can't afford it, so it can't be helped. Are you still a father even then? Don't you want to work so our child doesn't suffer? Sorry, but I like my current job. If I get fired from this, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So, mother-in-law, I'm okay with being fired, but won't your daughter and grandchildren be in trouble? I didn't understand why he could be so brazen. But even in this situation, my mother remained calm. That's not a problem at all. You said you couldn't pay, didn't you? But if you don't pay after being billed, doesn't interest accrue? You might think you can get away with it, but you also have a house as an asset, so wouldn't that be seized? Huh? It's fine if you're going to pay the amount including the accumulated interest later, but if not, I'd recommend paying it in advance. Then my husband corrected his posture again and began to prostrate himself. I am truly sorry. I am prepared to accept any punishment, so please spare me from having my property seized. All you have to do is respond sincerely. If you run away, I'll chase you to the ends of the earth. Be prepared for that. Also, about the attitude you showed towards me earlier, I'll make sure to share this with the entire group of companies. You said you loved this job, didn't you? You should not be mistaken. Looking at your attitude earlier, which company in the same industry would hire you? Even without thinking about what other companies would say if they saw that, it's clear. You should probably expect that you won't be able to stay in this industry. And so, this time, the curtain closed due to my mother's actions. Since then, my husband and his mistress have left the company. She did not let up, sharing information about my husband throughout the entire group, and he became the focus of attention in the industry in a bad way. It seems he's now working in a completely different field. The woman he was involved with has returned to her parents' home in the countryside and seems to be living quietly. Since then, I've been helping out with my mother's work. There was a lot to learn, but the pay is quite good. Maybe it would have been better if I had been doing my mother's work from the beginning. Now, I'm able to balance work and parenting and lead a fulfilling life.